the recording. Yeah, so the recording is going on. We are also live on Facebook, and so I'll have a team that's monitoring the Facebook conversations. And I'd just like to give you some house rules. One is this is a webinar, and as such, everyone who's not a panelist is muted, and also their video has been paused. But we have a chat button. So under the Q&A section, you'll see it at the bottom of your screen. If you're on the webinar on Facebook, feel free to also chat on the comment section. You are able to either type a comment or type a question as you go along. So I'm really, really excited to launch off this conversation. And we'll start with just a basic introduction about our speaker. So let me just bring it up. Okay. So this is Reuben Kimani. And Reuben is, the CV was very long, but I'm gonna read it because he deserves all that. So this is his brief profile. He's a co-founder and CEO at Username Investments Limited. And through his leadership, the company has accomplished over 60 projects spread across the country and issued over 15,000 title deeds to clients living both in Kenya and the diaspora. As we are reading, I just want to launch a survey. And so please feel free to just answer briefly so that we get to know who's in the room and what kind of conversation, how we'll angle the conversation. So there'll be a quiz. I'm just launching it right now. Just 4 simple questions. All you need to do is use your screen to just answer the question. So I'll go back to the introduction of Reuben. So for Username, this is an investment. It's a leading real estate company in Kenya that's known for property affordability, quality, and for being a strong, trusted brand. In 2018 and 2022, it was awarded the top 100 mid-sized companies. This was by KPMG and Nation Media Group. In 2021, it was given the most impactful real estate company of the year. 2019, the Diaspora Market Land Selling Company, Best MSME, aligned to the affordable housing agenda, amongst others. So it's a multi-award winning organization. Reuben has also been a recipient of many awards, such as the 2019 Africa Business Personality at the Voice Achievers Awards. That was organized in Netherlands alongside His Excellency, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. The coveted Entrepreneur of the Year 2018 Award, Realtor Founder of the Year 2019, and just recently the Changemakers Award by Tuko Media. This is all for the efforts and contribution he's had towards education sponsorship in Kenya, amongst many other awards. In addition, he's passionate about real estate and entrepreneurship. He loves traveling, reading, and watching movies. He's a strong advocate for mentorship in the area of education and entrepreneurship, especially to the young people of Africa, with the belief that education and entrepreneurship will be the driver of exponential growth in our economies and communities. And he has other hobbies that include calligraphy and climbing trees. He says he grew up near the Aberdares. So welcome, Reuben. Let me go back to my Zoom.
Thank you.
Great. So everyone, I see you're answering our questions, and I think I will also guide it will help to guide the speaker in terms of the conversations. So as we go along, allow me to now hand over to Reuben. Let me just share my screen. So the format of the presentation will be such that we'll just take like 20 minutes of sharing, 20 minutes of taking us through like 6 or so slides, and then the rest will be question and answer, so that it's as interactive as possible. Karibu sana, Reuben.
Thank you so much, Dr. Makovewala, for organizing this. And I think some of these things are very impactful to people. You may not know because I've attended quite a number of them. for some time, and I can tell you there are decisions I've made based on some of the things that I've learned. Thank you for the awesome introduction. And we will just proceed. And thank you for the invitation. When I saw it's just 1 hour, I was afraid because some of these topics are emotive. Some of these topics, people didn't need time to be able to understand, to be able to absorb the concepts, to be able to possibly get as much as possible and go home with something that they can apply. I'll try my best to share what I know. Of course, I'm basing it on my experience. I have a lot of experience in real estate investments, but I've taken time to study a lot to do with other investments. And I've been training investment. If you go to YouTube, my YouTube channels and stuff like that, you'll find a lot of stuff there based on my research. And I can see my team here, Ronald and Susan. I think Maureen will also join. They are part of the team. They have been backing up so well together with many others who are not here. And of course, some of them might have joined the webinar. I may not be able to see that. So personally, I would like to welcome all of you to this very interesting topic. And I know you're really psyched up. I saw one of the comments here. Somebody wants to know how to survive this economy among any other expectations. I'm just hoping within the short time, someone will be able to get at least one thing that they can run with. I usually say, even if you are going to start tomorrow, or even today night, you're supposed to start immediately. Get that one thing that you can apply in your life, possibly make it better. I would like to start my presentation because of the short time that this session is, and I hope people are taking notes. You have this presentation is a guiding point, but I like to just try to follow the presentation. I'll be sharing my experiences as I go along. And of course, there are so many expectations in regard to what people want to learn. This is a topic about mastering the art of smart investing in 2024. And of course, you may have seen this word smart investing a lot. In seminars you have attended, books you have read, people are watching many things in YouTube, right now in TikTok and Instagram, reading blogs. People talk about working smart and not hard and smart investing. What does it mean, really, to do smart investing? Basically, it means for me, and that's where we are going to start this conversation. For me, it means getting sufficient knowledge to know exactly which steps you need to take when you are making investment decisions. Like right now, if I give you 1 million shillings or say 10 million shillings, I know we have very serious men and women in this webinar. If I give you 10 million shillings today, because we keep saying I don't have money, I don't have capital for those who are starting businesses, but if I give you 10 million shillings, what did you do with that money? You will realize very fast that you are short of ideas on how to multiply that money, how to generate income from that money and stuff like that. Why is that so? Because you may not have sufficient investment knowledge for you to make the decision to know how to multiply that money. Even in the Bible, there's that parable of talent. Some were given 5, 10, and stuff like that. But there are those who are able to multiply. They got another 10, others got 5. But there's that guy who decided to bury it the sand, and he was being even told, I hope I'm not preaching and it is okay, that you should have put it in the bank to earn interest. So there's wisdom when you seek knowledge. And that's, I think, what you are doing today. I know people are excited. I'm going to share this very, very fast. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes because, and thank you for the introduction. I have done business for the last 10 years. I've been employed for like 5 to 8 years since I left college. I've experienced many things. I've lived in Shags, I've lived in Nairobi, I think most of my life. I've done so many things, and I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who is listening to me today. So that I don't give many stories, let me go through what we prepared today. And of course, I'm going to start with helping you understand what is your investment goals, or helping you find out what are your investment goals. Most of the time, we don't know why we are doing things all over, even in other aspects of life. Even in investment and financial finances, most of the time, we don't understand why we go to work, we look for money. We don't understand all those things. So the first thing, and for me, this is important, is to understand the why. Why are you looking for money? And that's why we are talking about understanding your investment goals as well. Why are you investing? I also want you to understand your risk profile. What I mean is there are people who are risk averse. Maybe they are in a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is someone who does not take risk at all, to 10, where someone is a risk taker like some of us. Where would you gauge yourself? There are those people who are 1 to 4. You need to understand, and this is almost natural, I would say so that you know which investment are easier for you to make, which investment can easily work for you, or basically where you have a disadvantage. If you are risk averse and you're in an investor, there are places where you have a disadvantage. And finally, you talk about mastering investment strategies. I know we are aware we are going to have every Thursday at this time of the day for this month of February. It's the month of love. We are going to be talking about smart investing. So we'll have I've prepared many other topics for you guys. So please always be there. So let's start by the basic of what is investing. Of course, most people, when you say I'm investing, there's a way you understand that word, right? There's a way you understand. And for me, investing is basically that that it's not a science. The way I was talking about 10 million, how you allocate that money to be able to generate returns, to be able to generate more money. What can you do with 10 million? Are you going to go to the village to farm and possibly export avocados? There's a lot of avocado export, especially in Mount Kenya, I think. Are you going to do trading? Are you going to import things from China and you come sell here? Are you going to start a business where you're going to sell land? Are you going to put that money in money market? Are you going to buy a bond? It's going at 17%. Are you going to put that money into SACCO? There are so many things. But most people don't know which one can give you the highest return. Basically, that allocation of any money, that every time you get money, including your salary, what do you do with that money? And then you keep putting that money into good use over time. And that's how people become billionaires and millionaires, because they always know every time I have 50 shillings, this is the best place to put that money to multiply. And of course, there are so many factors to be considered: the environment, the government of the day, the global economy. When you hear there's a war in Ukraine, what does that mean? The war that is ongoing in Israel, all of that, they all affect us. Right now, we have a problem of dollar shortage, and not just a Kenyan problem. It's all over the world. The US government increased their interest rates, which have not happened for a long time. Guys are withdrawing their money from the country. That's why you have these many problems. Anyway, there's something about investment. These are characteristics, as you can see. Of course, there's that big circle that has been thrown there. And there are so many characteristics of investment. There's something about investment that you have to be aware of. Number one, you are investing because you need a return. An investment must have a return. Of course, when you buy shares, you get dividend. When you buy plots of land, which we are very good at, affordable plots all over the country for investment, what you get is called capital gain. And most billionaires in this world are made in real estate, and they make their money via capital gain. The way you buy those plots in Nakuru, in Gong, in Kisumu, then after many years, you find the value has gone up 5 times. That's the same thing that happened all over the world. Of course, you can make profits from business if you are doing trading or if you're starting a business. Any investment must have a return. You put 10 million, you get 11 million after 1 year. That is an investment. Of course, every investment has a risk. That's why you are talking about understanding your risk profile. I've done this in the past. Every year, I usually try to evaluate what I'm doing, how much risk I can take. Of course, it also depends with your age, unfortunately, to some extent, because at a certain age, and I'm going to cover this, I feel there are investments you should consider more than others. And that is wisdom, because when you retire, liquidity is very important. So you start liquidating some of your assets and stuff like that. There's the aspect of safety. Of course, the aspect of preserving and growing wealth, that has to be related with the risk. How long can you stay with this investment? Some of them are too liquid. Like if you are saying you're investing your money into an account, say a savings account or a fixed deposit, where you're getting, I think, is like, I don't know, 7% or something of the sort. This money is something that you can easily access. Things like money market, this is money that you can easily access. So I don't know how far, how many years you can stay with that investment. There's aspect of liquidity, and that is also very important. Some assets like real estate, you cannot be able to liquidate very fast. The way you liquidate bonds, the way you liquidate shares, the way you draw your money from possibly from the SACCO and stuff like that, you need to really consider that. Let's start with the most basic and important thing. Every time I've been privileged to appear in a media station, I think all of them, talking about investment, most of the time about real estate. Even if you are talking about real estate, it's one thing that is very basic for you to succeed in any investment game. It's called budgeting. And actually, it's not just for investment, even for life. That is my belief. You need to learn something that's very basic, which is budgeting. We have something, we have a budget rule called 50-20-20 rule. And I think it has been explained there. You can see that 50% of your income, this is a guiding point. This is not cast in stone. It is a guiding point so that you know if you earn like 100,000, 50,000 should go to your needs. This is rent, this is food, this is utilities, so that you always know when you are living below your means. And I'll give a disclaimer. I know most people already have heard about so many of these things, but they wonder why they are not taking action about what they already know. And that's why we are holding this, to try to convince you, to try to tell you that you can start actioning. Once you start actioning things, you get momentum and more motivation to keep doing it, because you start seeing the results, you start investing, you start seeing your portfolio growing. I think Miss Susan, you may mute your mic there. Thank you so much. Then 20% should go to what we call wants. When you are taking your family for an outing, recreation, those hobbies, those shopping that are not related to food and stuff like that. You don't need to focus so much on what it means. Then there's a 10% to personal development. Those who are pursuing masters, there are so many skills that people are learning these days, including how to TikTok, how to be an influencer, how to do digital marketing, graphic design. There are so many things people are teaching themselves these days, and they are making a lot of sense, because that is the new life you are living. You allocate that money for your own personal development, including coming to a webinar like this, assuming you are charging. Then there is a 20%. This is the most important. this is where you put the investment money. And when we are talking about investing, and there's so much I can share today about financial literacy and investing, this 20%, I would say, is the minimum you should always put to investment. When we tell people to come to Username, we are giving you investment option for affordable land for investment, pieces of land which can appreciate too fast, very fast. In a country like ours, they are purely selected. That's our specialty. We do it so well. At least 20% of your monthly income or any income you get should always go to investment. You can see emergency fund, their debt clearance investment, their priorities, depending. There are people who are in debt. Depending on the rate of interest on that, then maybe they should start there. But this 20% is the money that you should put into investment. Come on, 100,000, at least 20,000. And it's a guiding. I'm saying that because you can increase the amount over time because you get promotions, your business will start growing. And if you're in employment, you start getting many other benefits. I talk about per diem. I used to get them overtime and stuff like that. And people make a lot of money. Put it, keep increasing. You can go all the way to 50%. Your investment will start growing. Let me go back to something called financial literacy. And we are talking about understanding a financial goal. These are very personal. And all of us here, as many as we are not the same. Investing and financial literacy is very, very personal. There's something it means to you. And we don't have time for me to take you through that exercise where I would like to know for every one of us here, what does money mean to you? Because we invest so that we have a certain end. We have a good life, a dignified, there's a certain reason why you want to have money. I don't think you see, money is like a piece of paper in terms of the material that makes money, but of course it represents value. There's a reason why you want to have that. I don't think you just want to have money in the bank. You want your life to be better. There are so many reasons. I've written some of them there. The most important is you generate passive income. There are those who want to build a home for their family. It is a desire that is in our heart. There are those who want to have financial independence. There are those who want to preserve and grow their wealth for generations to come. It's very popular in other countries. We go to Japan. I learned that 33,000 businesses. They are more than 100 years. Imagine, 100 years. These are second or third generation businesses. In Kenya, I don't know how many there are, but that is for me significant. There are people who want to do retirement planning. In your mind, you always think about when you get to that age when you stop working, and you are trying to figure out the kind of life that you want to have. Of course, you want to beat inflation. Inflation has kept increasing in many countries, including ours. You need an investment that generates a return higher than the rate of inflation that is there. For others, money means freedom. I think you need to answer this question on a personal level. What does money mean to you? And that also answers the question, what does an investment? Why are you doing all this? Why are you buying all these plots? Why are you doing flats if you are doing some of? Why are you buying shares? Why are you in the circle? Basically, there's something in your mind, in your heart that you want to do. So there's something I wanted to define, and I think I should also have started there. I have so much to share today. I don't know how I'll do that. This is our first session this month. Something about financial literacy is something I learned today about some countries. If you go to countries like Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, some of these countries have introduced financial literacy in their schooling. I think as early as prep schools and primary schools, they introduce financial literacy. What I'm teaching you today might actually be a topic of discussion in another country primary school, especially the developed world, because this knowledge we are not taught in school. I've taken time to teach myself. I've attended seminars, done classes, some of them by Zoom. I keep doing some of these things because I realize even if you do a Bachelor of Commerce degree and all those things. There are aspects of financial literacy which will never be taught by anyone. So you take time to teach yourself. What is financial literacy? Very basic. Of course, it looks like a big word, financial independence, but basically, financial literacy is that capability to choose the best investment every time you make money. Your capability to choose the best investment every time you make a coin, even if it's 50 shillings. Every time you receive your salary at the end of the month, how you use that money, and that's why you talk about budgeting, matters a lot to me because it defines how fast you can grow your wealth or how fast you can get to your dream. We say it is personal. So there's that art of mastering investment strategies, and you keep repeating this. This specific guideline is already something I believe most of our audience is aware. We talked about having our goals being smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And this applies to investment. The same way as it applies to your other goals, career goals at your workplace, those who have relationship goals, those who have spiritual goals and stuff. I know people last month, January has ended, and we thank God for that. Last month at the beginning, there are people who set their goals for the year, which is very good. I actually encourage that. Personally, I don't, but I actually encourage because I say my goals are continuous. I just list my life goals because there are goals which you can achieve. There are life goals which you can achieve in 1 year, right? So you list all of them. There are those which you achieve in 1 year and 5 years. They help you always. I told someone, even on 31st of December, it is possible to find me in the gym because my goals are continuous, even on fast, right? That's how I do my goals. But if your motivation is to do annual goals, that is your method, and that's why I say it's personal. Pursue it if it's working for you. You need to be very specific, very fast. Most people will say, I want to own a home, I want to buy a plot this year. The other, of course, New Year resolution about relationship and stuff like that. But most people are never specific, never. It feels bad when I don't know whether it feels bad when you are specific or what aspect of a human being makes you not say, I want to own 2 plots in Nakuru this year. That for me is specific. If it's a saving goal, I want to save 20,000 every year. That is so specific. It helps you know if my income is 50,000, can I be able to afford that? If I can't, how can I be able to afford that amount? Maybe I need to cut off my expenses in my budgeting. Remember 50, 30, 20 rule in my budget for me to be able to afford this 20,000. And if you do that, you start having visibility. I did my budget the other day. There's a time I really struggled to establish that habit. I'll tell you for a fact it's not easy because it looks tedious, especially if you are not a detailed person. It really looks tedious and very boring. But it is a guideline, and then you realize this is where my money goes, right? So be very specific. Don't tire to even, actually, you must write it down. I must say that any serious investor, including Warren Buffett, these are people who have invested a lot in structures. They are employed people specifically to write those, to do those graphs and stuff like that. Who are you? This, excuse me, at this initial level not to do that. You need to be measurable. Most people say, I want to buy a plot, I'll buy it in March for this amount, but they don't track how much because you need to keep saving until you get to March. Every single month, and I would say every quarter, if you go very far, you need to track how far you are going with your goals, not just financial, even the others. Of course, it has to be achievable. Yeah, and we have this culture, and we keep teaching young people about instant things all over. They talk about instant coffee, instant dates, instant money, multi bets, and all those things. People are looking for instant things, and that's why you have even digital and stuff like that. It is about instant. That's what all these technologies tries to do to us. But in investment, you can't apply that strategy. You don't want to try to be a millionaire in 1 day. in 1 year. I was saying something about in the US, those who become billionaires, they take a minimum of 20 years. These are adorable, even if they're in business, right? A minimum of 20 years. That is the median time, minimum. I don't know about being millionaires and stuff like that. I'm giving those examples, especially in our context, so that you know the goals you are like if you want 50,000 and you want to own a plot worth 5 million, I think there's a problem there, right? Especially if you are doing it in 1 year, you just stress yourself. You have to realize the first thing you need to do is to increase your income. And we have been teaching this. If you are pursuing a career and you just started, at any level, I can tell you this is the most important financial decision that you need to make. Those who are starting their jobs, the most important thing is to increase your income. So that plot we are selling in Nakuru is called Delight for 799,000. Instead of trying to save 5,000, 3,000, maybe you can save 30,000, right? By increasing your income, meaning you have to work hard in your career. If you're at a place where you're earning a lot of money, the next thing you need to do is to start learning so much about investing so that you dedicate a lot of your money to putting it into investment. For lastly, it has to be relevant. We have values, right? All of us have values. You have to look at your values. That's why we have to start by saying personal finance, financial literacy, investment is so personal, so that there are things I can't do based even on my faith. There are businesses I can't do myself based on my faith, as much as they are making billions. So I know those things. So you need to understand so that anything you do, your goals, anything you do aligns with your values. You don't want to be so wealthy by cutting corners. You'll never be happy about that. Of course, it has to be time bound. If you are talking about investing in a plot of land, you have to give it some time. Is it by the end of this year? Is it by June? Based on the budget that you have done. You need to do your math. And these things, we have had all of them. I can explain so many times, but I know for most people are looking for that convincing power. It also applies to me because I know some of these things. But I wonder, why am I not doing them? You need someone to, and that's why we go to church every Sunday. For those who go to mosque, they preach almost the same thing and they'll preach for 1,000 years because you have to keep being reminded so that you get convinced that you need to do it. I know time is over, if I'm not wrong. I think I'll just summarize the last slide. You may go to the next slide. I talked about investment risk levels. I'll go so fast. There are questions you need to ask yourself. How much can I afford to lose? Why are you investing, whether in the long term or in the short term? How old are you? I talked about that because it matters. Liquidity matters when you're in retirement more than when you are young. So depending on that, you can decide which investment you want to invest in. How knowledgeable are you about investing? That's why in this session, and it is very important for you to keep investing in some of these sessions. Even if people are asking for money, please invest. I've made very smart decision by just paying for some of these courses. And I'm not saying that to promote anyone or stuff like that, but I know it to be true. Some of these pieces of information have been researched, have been analyzed, people have experienced. They're just sharing with you for you to start applying instead of doing what we call trial and error. And I'll say this, even if you have done a lot of academic work, even in finance, financial literacy is a totally different ballgame. You have to invest in financial literacy to be very specific. Because there is no right or wrong in terms of risk. It's personal. Don't be afraid to seek professional advice. Of course, they say patient pays off. It's not a cliche word. It is true in investment. That's why you buy that plot. And I should have said this. We have two projects. We have projects we sold in Ngong and Nakuru. In 2017 and 2018, in Ngong, it was going for 259,000. In Nakuru, 399,000. The same properties are going for 1 million 4 to 5 years later. Those people who invested there, for me, they were investing smart. I don't know whether they did courses like this. Some people already invest in knowledge a lot. That is the power of capital gain, and people are building homes there, and people are reselling their properties, and you make 4 to 5 times your original investment. That is what it means by investing smart, among many other things. We can go to the next slide. I believe it is the second last, and then we go to the question and answer session, right? Of course, in the next presentation, I know we'll have another session. We'll talk in detail about some of these investment strategies. There's something called long-term, what is 5 to 10 years. If you have ever sought advice from me about real estate, and especially about land and investing, I've told many people, when you buy pieces of land, don't be in a hurry to sell them, a minimum of 5 years, because if you do so, you'll not cash in, you'll not get a good return. But after some time, when developments come, things change so fast. Actually, in some years, the prices can double, like places that do not have infrastructure, amenities, tarmacs, and so on. That is the Kenyan we live. There's a lot of people who move to our towns, urbanization, population growth, all those factors. And this is a developing economy. You expect some areas will be populated. There you have Rongai, those satellite towns, Tengela, Syokimau, Thika Road. There are so many places I can go today. There are places that are growing like that. Those are places where you find username investment, for example. So you need to invest money in the long term. This is the best. If I don't say anything else, investment is long term. Bill Gates once asked Warren Buffett, why do people fail to follow his investment strategies? And the way they look simple. Warren Buffett was very quiet. He said something very simple. Most people don't want to get wealthy slowly. This guy was talking about how long-term his strategies are. If you are patient, if you are long-term, if you are consistent, every single month, 20% what's a yenekwa investment. I believe at some point you make a kill and you invest. This is the power of compounding. There's something called growth-based investing. Those who invest in our properties, I think that's exactly what they do. Even in stock, you look for stocks that I don't want to convince someone to buy a particular stock, but there are those companies that clearly keep expanding, right? They have very good books. You need to learn basics about accounting. That's part of financial literacy. These are short classes, by the way. It's not master's, it's not degree, 2 weeks, 1 week, even some for a day. So you'll find those companies that keep expanding. These are growth stocks. Same for real estate. There are areas which will grow exponentially because of the way people are settling in those areas, whether it's Nairobi, Nakuru, or Mombasa. That is growth-based investment. Those people who invest in land, I think that's where they are. There's also value-based investment, especially for even for land in places that are developed. There are places, especially now, because of the economy that we are having, you'll find that there are so many foreclosures. There are so many places where you can buy properties cheaper than the normal price because of the way the economy is. It's called value-based investing. Right now, the stocks have gone down significantly, I think, for the first time in many years. For those who are buying stock, it's also a good time. But you really need to be careful about it because you need to understand. I think real estate is the simplest to understand for most people. But for stock, you can buy a stock today. In a day, it goes down by like say 20%. You can get a shock of your life if somebody never prepared you for that. So you need to also evaluate your risk profile. Short-term investment, this is where you invest with an objective of making very quick returns. It doesn't work in real estate. For me to set the record straight, doesn't work in real estate. I think it works in the stock market. You look at a stock, it can go up by 1 shilling. You look at a stock like KPLC, for example, trading at 1 shilling 40 cents. Somebody can say this stock can go up by 50 cents in like a few weeks, depending on anything that is coming up. Then you put your 2 million there, maybe trying to make $500,000. It's a high risk. You can actually lose all that money. Those are short-term investment, doesn't work in real estate. I think we can go to the last slide. So in the next presentation, there are many types of investment. I think we'll be talking about tips on how to invest, and I would like to focus more on why each and every investment you see on that presentation, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, mutual fund, those funds that are grouped together by companies and then they are invested on their behalf, bonds, art, this is especially in the US and Europe, in the Western world, precious metals like gold. I like to focus maybe on like 3 or 4 of them in the next presentation. Please don't miss. I want to specifically, based on my experience and knowledge, to tell you which one is for which scenario. Even whether it is in terms of age, there are people who earn more than others. There are people who are outside the country. I believe there are people from diaspora here. Depending on your situation, that's why personal finance investing is very personal. You can invest in real estate for your own personal reasons. I would like to focus that purely, possibly not today because it's a long discussion, to tell you why you need to invest in real estate, when you need to invest in bonds, in stock, when they are better than others, so that every time you get money, you're able to evaluate your own personal circumstances and know, if I get $1 million shillings, I would better buy a bond based on so many factors. That's why we cannot have one size fits all kind of advice. We just train you, we just share what it means when you invest in real estate. We just share circumstances that can make you invest in real estate. So we have those types of investment. I'm very good in real estate, but I've studied and taken time to get trained on so many others. I'm also an investor in many things in that, what is it? In this, it's not a circle, whatever it is, this shape. I've invested in most of those things, and I usually know this is the time to put money into plots. This is the time to put money into bonds, depending on the objective I have. That's what we'll be talking last time. I think that is a big discussion. I hope somebody will not miss, so that every time you make money, either from per diem, from your salary, from your business, it can be profit. There are those who get tenders. There are those who even borrow money. You know, this is where I can take this money to earn the highest return. So our time is very short. I would have liked to share so many things, but I think I'll give this time back to Makove, Dr. Makove, to guide us for the question and answer. I know that's where the matter is, so that I can possibly share my experiences. And all of us here, I believe we have professionals, we have people who have invested a lot of knowledge, and this is a good forum. Even as I share my experiences and my research, it's also a good forum for us to engage. So thank you so much for having all your ears on me. And of course, God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ruben. It's really been interesting as you walked us through that. So for everyone who's coming late, or those who are watching from Facebook Live, this is the first of 4 sessions that will be hosting Username around financial literacy, around investments. So today it was just about mastering the art of smart investing in 2024. And the things that I've picked are, one, that investment is a personal journey. So if you see a Makove buying, let's say, bonds, don't just dash into it. Find out for yourself whether this is the space that you are also in. The other one that you mentioned was about budgeting, and that if you don't know where your money is going, then you'll never really understand how to invest and to save. And then the third one is on financial literacy. And this is why we're bringing to you this series of webinars, courtesy of Username, which is an investment company that sells us affordable plots. So week 2, we will have how to avoid investment scams. And I think you'd want to be tuned for that. We've had our fingers burnt. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't heard Week 3, we have a topic tips to select the best investments in 2024. And I see a question there that is already touching on that topic. And the last week will be about building generational wealth through tangible assets. So today was just scratching the surface, introducing the topic, giving us basic overview on those. We had run a couple of questions, Ruben, for the poll so that you just understand your audience. And I don't know if people are able to see my screen. So looking at the age, so the poll was run in the first 5 minutes of the webinar, so not everyone got a chance to respond, but you can see our age set is around 31 to 40 years. That's 41% of our viewers are between 31 to 40 years. We have, the second question was, what is your investment experience? And many of them, 58% were beginners, meaning that they're new to investments. The other one, 38% were having some experience, and 4% had advanced experience. The third question was, what is your primary goal for investing? And this is a multiple choice question. 90% chose that they want to build wealth, and that's aligned to your statement around long-term investment. Others were looking at saving for retirement. So people want to have a good life and not be a burden to others. That's 44%. 50% want to generate income. So that ties to how can I make my investment work for me? And then 6% had other reasons. The last question was, how would we describe your tolerance, your risk tolerance to investments? So 27% were low. They prefer to play it on the safer side. 68% were medium. They would willing to take moderate to high risk. And then 5% were willing to go into the very high risk type of investments. So those are the questions and the poll. And we're really, really appreciating everyone for plugging in. So I will go to the first question. And this is someone who said, this is a good session. And he or she has asked on risk, which is the safest investment for someone below 30? Ruben, that is a wide net for you. Thank you.
I know we may have other questions that are coming in. I see we have really taken a lot of time, but I'm okay with that because this is very personal and important to our lives. I started by saying somebody has to answer the question why they are looking for money for investment. Why do you want money? I think I started by saying that. Very, very important before I answer this question about the safest investments for someone who is below that. Having said that, of course, at some point I was below 30. I'm not going to disclose my age at this point. Somebody may decide to Google. But what I'm trying, what I've seen, and I've shared this with especially the people I mentor, those young people. When you are young, especially when you are below 30, you have the advantage of experiments across life, not just for investment. You have the advantage of time. You can fail, learn, wake up, and do the same thing. And you'll find that a very good number of success people started their journeys, even in career, up or late 30s. Once you start understanding yourself better, identity and all those things, what you really want to do. You did computers, but now you want to be an investment person in real estate. You have to be a realtor, stuff like that. So what I would say for someone who is below 30, I find that advantage of having, I'm not saying if you are 50, you don't have time, you still have time. You can live like Jojo up to 1 year. What I'm saying for someone who is 30, be in a place where you can try things, right? When you make that income, though it's not a lot of money, I usually encourage people to try things. What it means is that try investing in real estate. That's where you have those very affordable pieces. There's a time you sold properties for 200, and I think we have a property for 250,000. You come try that. What you are doing, you are learning, right? You can also try investing in shares and stocks, but I would warn people against investing in things they don't understand. If you don't understand anything, and most of us are really educated, take your time to understand that concept. Most of the time, you realize it doesn't make sense. So I would say anyone who is below 30, take time. The small, even if it's small, I will not even call it a small income. The income you have, use it to test investment vehicles. Kama ni shares, una invest even 1,000. I think the minimum shares you can buy is 100, right? For plots, that's why you have those installment options where you can pay per month. And I also encourage young people to join groups. If you are 10, and there's a time you had this property where we are asking you for 15,000. I think we still have it, 20,000. It means that if you are 10, you just need 2,000 per month per person in a term and you own that property. What I'm trying to say, test, experiment, use your money to learn. Because like we said, it is very personal. I want you to understand how various vehicles do work in investment space so that you can always know which one you are best at, then you can be able to pursue. So I'm not able to say which one is safest for you. And I also realize 5% of the respondents, they want very high risk investment, right? There are those who are in the medium range. You need to understand yourself. So we are not the same. So I would say this, experiment as much as you can, especially if you are below that, you have capability to recover. Know which vehicle might work best for you. Those who are very good in stocks, you'll find that they started many years ago. Not that you can't start now, but you have a challenge of the learning curve. If you can learn too fast and also experiment with some of these strategies you have to experiment to find out if it works. You are well and good. So test, experiment, use that income and start as early as possible. Once you make a mistake, most of the time you run, you invest in a share and don't test the depth of the water with both your legs, right? Kama unaweka pesa kidogo kwanza, if I may say in Swahili, weka pesa ndogo kwanza so that you understand how an investment work. Ukichoma 1,000 and you have 30,000, that is good enough. Don't take a loan to test things. That is very dangerous.
Thank you. Thank you so much. As you're waiting for one or two more questions, Ruben, is there anything that you would do differently, knowing what you know now, and maybe at 30, that 30-year-old Ruben, in terms of financial literacy and investment choices that you made? You're muted.
Sorry for that. I think we should have started there because there are so many things I know now. We started username when I was 29 years. Of course, I've invested a lot. But the things I've learned since then, if I knew at 20 years, I think I would have been very far. Because the incomes I've received over the years, even if it was 10,000 per month or 5,000 per month, that 1,000, the 20% I was talking about, it would, with the power of compound. Remember, in 2012, I think the dollar was trading at 85 shillings, right? We are now at double the amount. It tells you how things have changed. What about 15 years ago, when plots in Juja were going for 25,000? I was in JKUAT and I remember. So because I was not trained in financial literacy, I was not, I did not have capacity to make those decisions. So if you are young, even if you are 20 years, please invest in financial literacy. And these are short courses that some of them take even a week, 2 hours per day. You will find them online. There is a lot of stuff in YouTube. If you are young, invest in financial literacy and knowledge, not just in investment, even in other facets of life. I find it, some of these courses are too short. You learn something that can really make your life easier. Get into a habit of seeking knowledge. I feel like that is the most important thing. Of course, they say, I'm looking for to be a millionaire at 30, to make a million and all that thing. The first thing you should seek is knowledge more than the money. The knowledge will bring the money. I think that's the one most important thing I believe someone should do. And of course, I'll tell them to start early so that you make mistakes early enough. And if you are even 50 or 60, you can still start now, but you need to understand at what point you are so that you know the level of risk you can take, so that I don't discourage those who might feel like, I'm 50 something and I don't think I can do what Ruben is saying. You can always find a way of understanding yourself, where you are, and know which decision you can make, because you never know how many years God is going to give all of us. You can go to 110 years, 20 years, and you need to be to live a dignified life, right?
Yeah, thank you. So we have two questions before we wind up. The first one is, can you give examples of real estate investments for a beginner? That's one. Then the second one is, what's your opinion on using trading mobile applications like Hisa that trades in stocks in Kenya and abroad? So those two questions, and then we wind up. You're muted again, Ruben.
Oh, sorry. I think I keep muting so that we have a clear conversation. I start with the one from Movin. Can you give examples? Thank you so much for your time. Karibu sana. Can you give examples of real estate investments for a beginner? If you are a beginner in real estate, of course, your income matters, because if you have a lot of income, you can be able to go very, very fast. But I'm assuming you might actually be doing your first job, starting a small business, and your income might not be high. When you are starting any investment, not just real estate, even if you have more money, of course, you can move faster. You always advise to start low, right? Don't buy so many shares. Don't gam and you have 5 million, you buy all the shares. Start by buying very small. The essence is to learn how and to understand that investment. Look at investing like dating, right? You need to understand someone, and it is not a day affair. You have to go for many dates before you understand someone. That's the same thing with investment. You put return money first, because it can really get lost. Then you keep growing as you understand how that investment works. That's what I would advise across board. For real estate, that's why we have like username. We have projects across board going for between 200,000 at the moment to 1 million shillings. Of course, you have one project outside that range to cater for every aspect of anybody, whether you are a beginner, whether you are someone who is advanced. We cater for everyone across board. You can start by having installment options. If you don't have money, and you can start even with one plot. I will not tell you to start with 10, even if you have money, so that you understand how it works. You visit the land, you understand the process, the documentation. We are in an environment where people are being conned day in, day out. That's why I would not like people to just go all in. Anza na moja, so that if you lose that one, or you buy, these days is not just about losing your money. You can actually buy, especially in real estate, that means nothing to you. People are buying land in places I know. You just lost your money. The land will be there, yes, but it has no value to you for a very long time. So start with one plot if you're getting into real estate. Even if you want to get into development of real estate, there are people who want to do flats, to do rentals, to buy a house, unless it's for your family. If it's an investment, that's different. Investment work with fact. Investment has integrity. There's no feelings about it. So and it's about returns, right? So start small where you can, anza na plot moja if you are getting into if you are getting into stock, buy very little amount of stock, maybe every month to a point where you start understanding. People start monitoring. Unajua unaanza kuangalia kama inapanda, you start understanding, you start reading articles about that company, you start understanding that company. So slowly by slowly you understand more. That's what I would say. If you are a beginner, and you can come to Username Investment. I think we'll give you more stories and maybe more pieces of advice. We actually give advice for free. Ukuje uone where you can start and we'll guide you. In the next 5 years, I've seen people do wonders. We have customers with a portfolio, and I'll share in the next webinar why land is important in the whole thing of investment, compared to many others, including bonds, including doing business, so that you understand where lands come in. It is not for, I would not say it is for everyone, but it is usually perfect for most Kenyans. Looking at where they work, the income levels they have, their goals, and stuff like that. So come to us. You can start small, even if it's one plot. You can come with a group. We invest in water pamoja, especially if your income is lower. You can join a circle so that you get 5 to usually 3 to 10 times for some circle your savings, and you're able to get that plot upfront. Then you keep paying that circle loan. Circles are good because the interests are lower, right? Those are things no one tells you about. You can actually own a plot, especially in those places that are really appreciating, in the next 1 year, even if you started your job by just working smart, right? Join circle, come as a group. There are so many methods. Negotiate, you have installment plans. There are so many ways of killing a cat. There is another question about trading application like KISA. I've taken too much time in the real estate question. That is my area of specialty. Not that I don't know about many other things I do. So mobile trading applications like KISA that trades stock in Kenya. What I would say is this. There are so many apps, there are so many systems, they advertise left, right, and center. What I would say about especially these regulated markets, right? Like stocks, these are capital markets. Anything you do, ensure, because an app is trying to present an interface for an organization that is helping you trade. An app is just a system, an IT system, right? So the company that is helping you that trading can be a broker, it can be an agent. The question I usually tell people, is it regulated? This is very important for capital markets. If you want to know whether something is regulated, go to Capital Markets Authority website. If it is a stock broker, you go to NSE. For some, you have to go, for banks, you go to CBK, right? So you really need to be sure this app is being backed by organizations that are regulated, either in Kenya, most likely in Kenya, because you may not know what is happening in Somalia. Before you trade in it, what happens is that people come, they have those apps, possibly they are helping you trade, they are collecting money. Some of these things are not regulated. If they go down with all your money. The other piece of advice that I think is practical, if you are doing something that you think is very risky, never put more than 5% of your income there, right? If you're earning 30,000, never put, what is 5%? That is 1,500, right? Never put more than 1,500. If you're earning 100,000, that is 5,000 into that investment. This include like in a crypto. Those are very high risk. So that if you lose all that money, it doesn't affect your capability to eat tomorrow, go to work. You can even get very stressed, right? But if it's 5,000 out of 100,000, most likely you can say need a pata potea, right? Those are some of the principles we work with in investment. You're not playing safe, you're just playing smart, right? So be very careful, check if it is regulated in the country, the company that is operating it, and you'll be okay. This is a good session question. There's a question from, this is, I think, someone, I can't tell the name. on risk, which is the seventh investment for, oh, I have answered that, and thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I've actually answered that.
Is there another question?
No, we don't have another question. And Ruben, and we have 5 minutes over time.
All right.
So allow me to really thank you for this session. I think I had mentioned to you that the momentum picks up towards the end, and sometimes 1 hour it becomes a bit tight. But I want to really, really appreciate, Ruben, that you are here with us. And I know you're coming back next week with the topic that's on the screen. That's tips to select the best investment. I know there's a comment on our Facebook page, my Facebook page, from someone who's looking at different types of investments. If you can hold on that thought, because next week, Thursday, we are covering this topic that's on the screen, tips to select the best investments. If you've not joined our webinar, please, there's a link that I've shared that I will keep on sharing. You're able to sign up to all 4. You're able to put it on your diary automatically, and it will give you a reminder. But in case you forget and you miss it for whatever reason, all this was being recorded, and it will be uploaded on my YouTube channel. I'll share the link by tomorrow morning. And we also have contacts of username, just for those who may have needed to access them. They're on their social media platforms. Username.co.ke is the website, but we have the different offices in Nairobi, 2 in Nairobi and 1 in Nakuru, but as well as you can call them. And if you use the Amakove code, you might just get yourself a discount. So look out for that. Reach out to the numbers that are there. It's very simple, 0725 000 222. Again, as those who signed up to the webinar, you'll get an email, an automatic email that will tell you more about where the recording is, and also share the same contact. So don't feel bad if you're not able to cram all this. Everything will be recorded. So I really, really want to appreciate Ruben and your team. And I'm looking forward to next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. East Africa time, for another conversation on tips on how to make good investment choices. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with us, and looking forward to our next conversation next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.